Dobre utra, everybody. It is a cloudy, rainy day. It's not raining right now, but we drove through some torrential downpour to get here this morning, and it has definitely rained here. Everything's a little damp. Along with that, though, it is also cool. It is not so hot, which is really nice because it's been a scorcher here. For all of you who are super concerned, I actually, through a friend in Moscow, received a message from someone that was so concerned about our house. I think they thought it was going to melt in the rain. So for you, it's still here. Don't worry, everything is okay. OSB does not melt. It's not a wafer cookie. It's okay to handle rain. And actually this stuff, I almost think, I don't know this for certain, but I almost think it's better quality than the OSB that I buy in Canada because it seems to have a real glossy sheen to it. So I think it maybe is more waterproof than the stuff I'm used to using. OSB has come leaps and bounds since it first came out. We used to use plywood on everything, but plywood has become so unaffordable. OSB is now industry standard. And it's come a long way. It doesn't just fall apart. It doesn't melt like wafer cookies. It is a good building material. Comes in various sizes. So it's definitely wet. Basement is wet. Everything has rained. And it's a little bit damp down here. Not too shabby. So this is for hand troweling. It's not bad. Bit of a low spot here, but all in all, it's pretty good. There's a bit of a low spot. Quite a low spot. But not bad. Not too shabby. Better than I thought it was going to be. So of course it's going to drip through here for a while because it's wet upstairs, but we're going to focus on getting a roof on. Here's all our handprints. Worked out very well. So those will be there until they get rubbed off with our feet. And we do have water in here, which is kind of neat. It's slowly dripping in. So we'll smash all this out eventually and we'll get perimeter tile put in. Very good, very good. Very good. We'll check out the rest of the house now. This is the last pad we did, 2024. And we let Finney run through here in his bare feet.
That looks really nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Not too bad. And of course it's wet in here, but that is to be expected after a rain. So we're going to focus on trying to close in that side first. And then we'll work on this side. We're going to get the rafters cut if we can, and we'll get them put up as soon as we get OSB on. So we got held up by one day we decided to pour concrete in the basement because it was just so hot. We thought, you know what, let's go work in the basement instead. We still sweated like crazy, right, Mom?
Oh, yeah.
Mama worked so hard.
Yeah.
Anyway, we decided to do that, and then Friday we were gone all day. We had to be in town because we had a bunch of meetings and stuff to deal with. And so if we wouldn't have been those 2 days and it wouldn't have been so hot the day before that, I think we would have had the roof on, which was the plan, to have the rafters all up and the OSB on, and then I would cover it with Tyvek, which then effectively makes it waterproof. Because the Tyvek, although not 100% waterproof, it's water resistant. The water would just run off the roof and it would be basically dry in the house. So we were on par to do that, which is pretty cool because not very often do you actually build a building and not get rain, unless you live in Arizona maybe. But typically it always gets some rain in the building and it takes time to dry that out again. And so I was like, hey, you know what? This might actually be a house with 0 rain, which now we got rain. And we got rain for the next couple of days forecasted. We're going to try to work between the rain. When it's raining real bad, we'll either hide in the tent, in the van, or in the container. And if it's not raining too bad, we can work inside here. We can build some walls. We can also cut all the rafters while we're inside. And then if it's not raining, we'll put the rafters up and get them all laid out up there. So let's get going. We've got some birds flying in and out of our house. They think it makes a nice home. Of course they're gone now.
Some birds in here?
They keep flying in and out, checking out their house.
They like it. He's well got the camera with that one.
They sure it didn't take long, eh?
No.
The house, I see.
We love birds.
Yeah.
and I'm looking forward to having a lot more of them here. That's one thing, again, for those of you who might think it's strange I didn't cut the hay. We would have cut the hay, but it's now too tough and stringy. It's just not going to make great feed. So I'm going to leave it there so we can reseed the field, as I've said before in another video. It also helps with the birds. Birds love it. And it will attract more wildlife. The more fertile this land is, the more wildlife will have, more insects and more birds. So we look forward to that for sure. We'll also be building lots of bird houses for the land to attract the birds. It's part of a natural cycle of life. Now, one thing I'm super excited about here in Russia, we are super excited about, is the abundance of insects here. Not saying that they're all gone in the West, no. But to those who notice it, I guess, it seems to be a decline in insects. We notice this particularly in industries that, like bees, in the honey keeping business, where people are actively involved in that, and they notice their numbers drop in the last few years. And that can be attributed, in our opinion, to sprays. The crops are continuously sprayed, and there's less and less wild flowers. Everybody's focusing on specific crops rather than, you know, having an abundance of different types of flowers around. And these crops, a lot of them get sprayed, which then can kill off a lot of your insects. Now, is it all spray? I don't know. We personally don't spray. We don't really like the idea of spraying. We'd like to keep things natural. And if I was a little insect out in the middle of a field and I got a bunch of spray on me, I don't think it would be good. And they usually tell us to get out of the field too. I mean, would you leave your kids laying in the field if they sprayed the field? Probably not. Why not? Because it's not good for you. And therefore, I don't imagine it's good for the insects and the wildlife that's in that field either. And here, we've noticed this seems like, hey man, I haven't seen one of those kind of things in a long time. I haven't seen one of these kind of bugs in a long time. It just seems like we have more of that. So, in our opinion on it, seems like it's more natural here, and we really look forward to that, and encouraging and fostering that type of environment here for more birds to come, for more insects to live here. Makes for a healthier ecosystem. Everything has to have a balance, and everything works together. Yeah, it's just nice. It's nice. What is it? Slippery mud. What do you think of those apples? Your dirty boots. A little hard uphill, maybe better off downhill. Oh, get your feet back on you.
Right off the ice.
And gone. Boom, boom. Is that nice or what? Beep, 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 beep. For those who don't think so, there's quite a slope on this guy. And you can tell by the house, because it's the same slope on the house. See how much it drops off. It's another sad thing. So if you're new to our family, we moved from Canada about 6 months ago. We arrived in Russia. 3 months before that, we arrived in Tbilisi, Georgia. So 9 months ago, we left Canada. Prior to that, we traveled a little bit in the States, but we sold everything we owned. We had a nice farm there in Canada. You can find those videos on our channel. We built that farm from the ground up as well. There was nothing there, kind of like this, just an open field, and built everything. But we did have possessions. We had furniture, we had chairs, we had toys, we had bikes, we had stuff. And in order to facilitate the move here, we literally sold everything we owned, other than some very valuable keepsakes, little trinkets and things, whatever we could fit in 12, no, how many suitcases? 18? 28, my bad. 28 suitcases full of stuff. Everything else was sold. So along with that, of course, all the children's bikes as well. And that's one thing that they have really been looking forward to is getting some new bikes. So this is the first one, I guess, of many. We were actually surprised the cost of new bikes here. It's a lot higher than I thought it should be. Generally, we look for used bikes, and just haven't found that many, I guess. I mean, they are available on Avito. I just haven't had a chance to take a look at that yet. But anyway, yeah, I'm just looking forward to that. So it's just nice to. It's part of getting things back to normal, I guess, and getting back into the routine of life is having things like bicycles. Just like that, boss. Thank you, sir. so you never want to have a door. Where's my tick, dude? Dude. Mama has it. Mama has it. We never want to have a door right up against the wall. Why not? Yeah. Why wouldn't it be safe?
Because there's nothing holding it.
Sure it is. You can screw it into this wall. Little hole. Safe is not the answer. Try another one. What do we put around the door? And how would you do that? It's right up against the wall. Aha. So why don't you put it right up against the wall? You got her. So we should leave a bit of room for trim. So let's say 10 centimeters. Sound good? I have no idea how big the door is going to be, so we're going to leave ourselves 90. We can always frame it in later. Yes? So that's going to be 100. Our door goes in between there. Хорошо. Now.
It's so unnecessary dwelling about the past, 'cause I know that God is good, He led me to where I'm at. Sometimes I feel like giving up, you're giving in, but everything happens for a reason. It won't always be blue skies ahead. Sometimes you might need a helping hand, just like I am, sharp as iron, making me stronger, calling me higher. When we come together, just like I am, sharp as iron, making us stronger, calling us higher. When we're helping each other, we're growing together. It's so unnecessary worrying about life. I might not have it all, but I know I'll be alright. He's gonna challenge me to be the best I can be, and to give back to those who need it. It won't always be blue skies ahead. Sometimes you might need a helping hand, just like I am, sharp as iron, making me stronger, calling me higher. When we come together, just like I am, sharp as iron, making us stronger, calling us higher. When we're helping each other, we're growing together. Iron, sharpening iron, making me stronger, calling me higher, calling us higher. Sharpening iron, calling me higher, just like I am, sharp as iron, making me stronger, calling me higher. When we come together, just like I am, sharp
Good morning.
as iron,
I got an ant
making me
crawling on my
stronger, calling
ear.
us higher.
Good morning. Arend Beaster here, Countryside Acres. It is another gray and kind of gloomy day, but you gotta look on the positive. It is not hot. It's almost like sweater weather, thin sweater maybe. I'm still in short sleeves, but it is a little on the cool side. Got a pile of rain yesterday. Yesterday morning, actually. By the time we got here, we never really got much more. It spitted a little bit. Spitted a little bit later in the day, but we kept on working. Okay, another thing for framing here. Those in the West are probably pretty familiar with framing, but those of you that aren't, I'll try to explain a little bit. So exterior walls, you put insulation into these cavities, okay, and then you put vapor barrier on it, which is plastic. I usually like using 6mm poly. It's a lot sturdier. This plastic I've got here, if you double it up, it's similar to 6mm. This is incredibly thin, so I will probably look for something else. But anyway, right now that's what I got. Before putting the internal walls on up against there, it's important to put plastic behind. I didn't do it downstairs. I'm gonna have to do it after the fact, which is a real pain. If you can do it right now, it's handy. So later on, when we insulate these cavities, we're gonna put plastic on from here over, and I can then attach it to this plastic. It's really hard to get plastic tucked in behind a wall, as you can imagine, once it's already built. So all the attachments where interior walls are attached to outer walls, we have the plastic. I still need to put backing on. If you can imagine, again, you're putting drywall on this wall here. There's nothing to screw it to there. And so behind this stud, there's gonna have to be some backing put on all the way from top to bottom on both sides, everywhere where they connect. It's gonna have to happen. So I've got most of my interior walls done now. Not all of them, but enough that I can put rafters on today, and that is the goal. I wanna get the rafters on and the plywood on top of it. The amount of times I film something and forget to hit play. Another important thing to remember is your top plates. I always do a double top plate. Now there's a single top plate here. We're gonna put another one on. That allows me, for one, it makes it a lot stronger. So if a rafter or something ends up between two studs, it's still strong enough to handle that load. Secondly, it sturdies everything up. Thirdly, it ties the walls together. So this 2x4 wall here ends at that 2x6 wall, if you can see that. And so to tie them together, I would run the top plate from this wall all the way through onto that 2x6 wall, and it connects them together. And then same thing here on these joints. This is two 2x6 walls meeting. The 2x6 top plate from this wall will run past and nail onto that wall, and that helps connect them together, which is very important. The boys will be working on that soon, but you can see all the joints here. So this one here is on this side. This top plate will run past over top of that. So right here I left a gap, and when I need to build another wall here yet, but I haven't done that because I'm trying to get my rafter measurements figured out first. Then I can start cutting them and the boys can get this done. But this top plate will then run through, so I just left a cavity for that. And over here I need to cut this one off, okay, because this top one needs to run through as well. So I will cut this one off here. Ideally I would have done that before bringing it up, but I was so focused on getting my rafter points here that I forgot about it. Anyway, this will get cut off, and then that top one can run through, and then this one will run through onto that wall, and it helps sturdy everything up. Properly built, it will be very secure and everything will be tied together. Some of you are like, oh, I've seen houses blow over in the States, all these matchstick houses, they blow over in the wind. Keep in mind, we're talking incredible wind forces in hurricanes and in tornadoes. In normal weather conditions, a house will not blow over. And even in some severe storms, generally you see a house roof lift off, and I believe that's because they didn't properly attach it. If you think about all the sheeting that's holding everything together, it takes an incredibly good storm to knock a house over. It's usually the roof that rips off, that's what you see, and that's because people haven't attached them properly. If you use hurricane clips, truss clips we call them, that helps tie the rafters down to the walls. And I wouldn't say it makes it impossible to rip off, but it'll help withstand much higher wind forces. Also, it's going to be my gable end. A gable end meaning I got the triangle, if you will. I'm going to go up on an angle here and come down. If you tie the plywood from that down to this, that helps hold that all together as well. And then if you put clips along the side, I don't know if they have them here in Russia or not, but we'll see if we can find some. That'll tie the wall to the rafters and hold them on and make everything secure. Understand?
Yep.
Вы понимаешь? Да? Да.
Like a train, you'll hear me coming from 100 miles away. I don't ever remember running as fast as when I'm after you to stay. When I tell you that I promise, that's exactly what I mean. come true, that you're the only one for me. And darling, you're proof that we're always gonna make it through. Cause you only wanna be with me, and I only wanna be with you. Oh, yeah, I only wanna be with you. Like a storm cloud in the distance, you can feel me moving in. There's a pressure and resistance I hope we never have to feel again. It's you, yeah, it's always been you, and everyone around can see. It's true, yeah, it's a dream come true, that you're the only one for me. And darling, you're proof that we're always gonna make it through. Cause you only wanna be with me, and I only wanna be with you. Oh, yeah, I only wanna be with you. When I told you that I promised, and I said I'd never leave, I'll be standing here beside you till the end of everything. It's you, it's always you, and everyone around can see. It's true, it's a dream come true, you're the only one for me. And darling, you're proof that you're always gonna make it through. Cause you only wanna be with me, and I only wanna be with you. Yeah, it's always been you, and everyone around can see that it's true. It's a dream come true.
Good morning, everybody. Arend here with Wesley working up there. You're watching Countryside Acres. Not every day is a good day. I think a lot of YouTube channels only show you the good, and we have bad days too. This is one of them. So yesterday, I drew all this out for the kids, and they put them in. So it's my mistake. And I laid all these rafters on 40 centimeters centers, or 16-inch on center. I don't know why. I did it without thinking. It was a real rough day yesterday. A lot of things weren't going the way they were supposed to go. And that happens. Everybody has bad days. It's just we don't always tell you about them. So now I'm telling you about them because, well, we're human too. So I laid them all out on 16-inch centers or 40 centimeter centers, and they're supposed to be 2-foot centers. And so then I had to go with my lovely wife, Anneesa, and pick up some groceries for supper. And in about an hour's time, they whacked all these in, had them all nailed in. And I got back, they're like, hey, we ran out of rafters. I'm like, that's impossible. How could you have run out of rafters? I had enough rafters. And Cora, of course, thought I was joking. She figured that I knew that I was going to run out. I'm like, no, there were supposed to be enough rafters. I measured it, I cut them all. And then I was like, oh, no. So we got them all in at 16-inch centers, and they're supposed to be 2-foot centers, which is why I didn't have enough to finish the building. And like, ah! So anyway, this morning we're cutting a bunch out. We don't have to cut them all out. First one's good. This one's good. So 16-inch centers, this is why it's so nice working that way. With 16-inch centers, it works out to your 4-foot mark as well, right? So you get 16, 32, 48, or 40, 80, 120. And our sheets in Canada and in the States are 4 feet by 8 feet. Our sheets are 4 foot by 8 foot. So you get this 4-foot mark and an 8-foot mark. Yeah, and that's how all of our material comes. And so same thing as 120 and 240. Now the sheets here are 250, but we're cutting them down to 240 because it just makes more sense. I don't know why they're 250. Somebody suggested because of a margin of error that they leave. That doesn't seem like a likely idea. I don't know why they do it. They must have a reason. But anyway, so we have to take 2 out and put 1 back in. So in the middle here we now have a new mark right there, and that's where it's supposed to go, is on that mark. My mistake. I am human. So we've already taken 8 out, and I think we said there was 22 to take out total, right? So we got 14 to go. No, that ain't the right math. We only got 12 to go. No, that is 14. I was right. Another rough day. Any case, that's the way she is. Now, when we do agricultural buildings, it's 4 foot on centers. Trusses go 4 foot on center. So this is actually the space that would be between my trusses on an agricultural building. When we build the shop and the barns, then I will show you that. But in residential building, they usually call for 2 foot on center. The reasoning, I've never made much sense of. I like everything to make sense. Everything should be, you should be able to think through everything and apply common sense. But in a building that has occupancy, so let's say a commercial building space, a residential building space, where people are going to be on a regular basis, they call for 2 foot on center. But if it's just cattle in a barn or a storage shed, then 4 foot on center. And I've always argued that if it's not going to fall down on the cows, why would it fall down on the humans? It seems like a dumb thing to say, hey, there's people in this one, we better add more material. Never made any sense to me. It's the code, and that's what we always stuck to. And so residential buildings is generally always 2 foot on center. Now, if you're putting drywall on your ceiling, you're going to want them closer together than 4 feet anyway. If you do 4 foot, you'll have to strap the ceiling in order to hold the drywall on. So 2 foot on center works fine for drywall on a ceiling. I don't like it on a wall. The reason being, like these are 16-inch on center. Okay, or maybe I'll show you this wall. This is 16 inches. If you have them 2 foot apart, you lean against the wall, you will feel flex in the drywall. It will bend. And that'll, over time, it'll crack your joints and it'll just make a mess. 16 inch on center, they're 8 inches closer together, or whatever that works, 20 centimeters closer together, and a whole lot sturdier on your walls. So walls, 16 inch on center. Rafters can go 2 foot on center. I could leave these on 16-inch centers, but I don't need to. It's just a waste of lumber, and it means that I have to travel an hour and a half back to the city to go get more 2x6s, and I don't feel like doing that. So we are going to put them where they belong. We'll have it fixed up in a jiffy, and then hopefully today we can get the OSB on the ceiling. And then we will put house wrap on it, and that will basically make it waterproof, water resistant. The water will then run off. And then I will measure it up for steel and hopefully order steel. I don't know if we can get it this week yet or not, but soon. Anyway, we'll be putting steel on. Just stopping to admire the duckies. There's lots of them in the water today, swimming away. This guy's trying to catch up. Hey guys, wait for me! His buddies are gone already. Beautiful little spot. There's a whole bunch over here. Well, maybe we can't see them. Anyway, and that stuff there is little green teeny plants. Brings back memories in the Netherlands, actually, with my cousin. One of my cousins. We would go to the pond nearby and fish that stuff out to feed to his ducks. Got a ring neck on him, yeah? Got a ring neck on him. Hard to make that out. She almost looks a bit like a loon. Yeah. These guys lining up, that's a good sign, folks. Beautiful rafter tips. So a lot of folks think I'm building this house by myself, which is totally not true. This man right here working hard every day. I don't think there's a single part of this house he hasn't touched. He is as good or better than any carpenter I've worked with. He's well trained. And the rest of the kids all help out as well. I am not doing this on my own. Even the little fellers, they stack all this stuff. It saves me an enormous amount of time. All the cut-offs from the saw, they pile it up for me, so it's all organized and neat. Of course, it took training. Takes direction, but I'm not doing it. That's the children that stack that up and stack this up, stack that up, stack that up, keep things neat and tidy. Cora's been helping out huge. Waylon and Ariana have been passing me lots of lumber, helping me cut all these rafters. So it's not one man building a house, it's a whole family building a house, and honestly everybody works hard. I'm not doing this alone. Look at that beautiful view. I get back to these rafters though, that just makes me happy. Look how straight that is. That'll be my fascia. Perfect. Very nice. And these ceiling joists are just stuck here and I just cut an angle on them. It's not quite perfect, but now that we got the rafters in, there's not much sticking up. There's a wee little hump there. So that's a pretty good guess. Our mistake's almost fixed. My mistake, I guess, because I laid it all out 40-inch centers. We've just about got it all fixed. They're on 60-inch centers, or 60 centimeters, sorry. I laid it out on 40-centimeter centers, and now they are on 60s, which is where they're supposed to be, 2 foot. So we're just about done. Get a couple more to pop in over here, and then that's it. Then we're gonna start sheeting. Well, we're gonna do a bit of bracing in here first, make sure everything's secure. I've got one little teeny brace here, but I want to throw some more in there, back and forth, and that'll keep the ridge line from doing this. Very important. And we still need to nail them all onto the wall side, so that part's done. And yeah, then we'll hopefully get sheeting on today. Yeah, waterproof it. Plan is to put the OSB on, then we're going to put the house wrap on here as a water resistor. Any water that comes through the steel. On a commercial build or on an agricultural building, I would never do that. And I mean, really, I've only ever seen one job where the steel leaked, and we fixed it before we put a ceiling in. But on a house job, I'd hate to think that it does leak and you don't notice. So the last couple of houses we did, I didn't bother. This one I'm going to put the house wrap on it, and then put the steel on. So we'll put the house wrap on today, and then we're going to run strips of wood up each rafter. And that way when our strapping goes on, the strapping will go on 2 foot centers, the opposite direction. This little piece of wood that I'm going to lay on here, this little strip, will lift the strapping up enough that any moisture that does accumulate will be able to run off and not rest against the strapping, because that would just rot it off. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, you'll see it a little bit later in the video when we get to it. It will get done. So a huge thank you again to all of you that support us. We really appreciate it, whether it's with kind words or gifts, sending us things in the mail, letters of encouragement, and also financially we also appreciate that very much. Just bonus way, we never would have suspected. We had a live yesterday. We had at the most I think it was 1,200 people watching us live. I would have never ever dreamed that something like that would happen. So thank you very much for all of you that support us. We do appreciate it, even though maybe we don't say it enough. It's just great, and we sincerely hope that once we get established here and everything's ready, that we will also be able to give back to the community around us, whether that's through job creation or through building, construction, different jobs. Maybe there's something in the area that needs to be worked on, whether that's a church or a school or some kind of community thing. We hope to be able to give back with the talents that God has given us and bless other people the way that we have been blessed. So thank you very much. Normally speaking, I do not build them now, eh? Okay, we usually run from this guy out to the end, over top of the last guy. It's stronger. This is a very short overhang. I'm also putting OSB on, and I'm strapping it, and it's going to be a steel roof, not a shingle roof. So the snow will not stay on there. It will mostly slip right off. There will be no weight. It's actually really sturdy. And if you notice, we're screwing that on, whereas we nailed everything else. And the reason is that if there is pressure on it with nails, they may tend to come apart, or screws, they won't. Screws don't have the shear factor that a nail has. In other words, straight up and down, a nail will beat the screw, but pull factor, the screw will hold better. That's also why we screw down the flooring inside, as it helps hold it down longer. So anyway, he's screwing these all on. We got to cut the tail off yet, of course, to match the rest of these rafters. I'm gonna put this one on, and then next we're gonna do the 2x6 fascia along here. So hard to point straight when you're doing this. And then we'll be ready for OSB. Put that on. Mom is busy editing, talking to the baby that somebody left in the yard. Where are you gonna go? Ah, you're busy getting a drink? Getting the baby a drink. Probably going for a little stroll. There's our home, our well. They're supposed to be coming tomorrow. They've decided to drill her deeper. We pumped it for 4 or 5 days. It was still sand coming out, and they said, you know what? We're just gonna come back. We're gonna go deeper. So that's what we're gonna do. Drill it down until we hit, it's not normal rock, I forget what they called it now, I looked it up. Anyway, some kind of rock down there. We'll drill through there, and they're pretty sure we're gonna have better water then. This pile is just about gone. We're gonna dig a trench from here through here, and I left a spot in here for it to go into the house. Now, somebody did just ask why we didn't put the well in the house. I've never heard of somebody drilling a well in their house. I don't know why I would want it in the house. They mentioned it because of freezing. I don't understand that. This is 100 meters deep, roughly. 90, no it's not. It's 27 meters deep, sorry. It's about 100 feet almost deep. And the well goes down the hole. The pump, sorry, goes down the well hole. It's never gonna freeze down there. So I'm not sure what that meant. The way we do it in Canada, at least the last well we did, the pump's down the hole, and then the water pipe comes out about this far below the ground into your house. So it also doesn't freeze. The line would be about 4 or 5 feet below the surface of the ground, and then going into your house. And that is why we've got this hole in here ready to go. You can see there's a stick of lumber in between there right now. That is how far the water line will be below the dirt, heading towards the well. So we planned that for that, and then it will also be going into the house. So the whole pump assembly is actually going to be down in the pump, or in the well, and what you have in the house is just a pressure tank and a regulator. The regulator keeps an eye on the water pressure, the PSI in the system, and as soon as it drops too low, it turns the pump on and down in the well. So the wires will be going out there, turn it on to bring the pressure back up. Works really great. I don't know of another system. That's the way we've always done it, except for in southern Alberta, where there isn't a lot of water, and I only knew one guy with a well. Everybody else trucked their water in with big tanks on the back of a truck, hauled it in from the city, and dumped it in a cistern. So then that system was, of course, a bit different. But everywhere else we've lived, we've had a well, and it's always been like this.
what's been on my mind. Sick and tired of the 9 to 5 in the city life. Hey darling, we could get out of town, see the beautiful world around, wanna see it now. Pack our bags and get in that car, leave a little note and we'll drive real far. Let's get out, we can leave this city. Let's drive to the open air. Yeah, the countryside is so pretty, with the wind blowing in your hair. We can look back someday. Baby, don't you understand that we only get one life? I wanna make it count, honey. Come on now and take my hand. Hey darling, I love it when it's me and you on the road with a couple of tunes in a car for two. Hey darling, you know we're gonna have a really good time, driving in the middle of the night when the stars are bright. Pack our bags and get in that car, leave a little note and we'll drive real far. Let's get out, we can leave this city. Let's drive to the open air. Yeah, the countryside is so pretty, with the wind blowing in your hair. We can look back someday. Baby, don't you understand that we only get one life? I wanna make it count, honey. Come on now and take my hand. Let's get out, we can leave this city. Let's drive to the open air. Yeah, the countryside is so pretty.